Good morning. Here comes the sun. We are on our last chapter of Blues and the Poetic Spirit. This is chapter 6. Symbols, images, and the dream. Have you ever dreamed lucky? Woke up cold in hand? William Harris, Bullfrog Blues. Part 1, Symbol and Image. It is in the essence of symbols to be symbolic. Jacques Vacher. The image is a pure creation of the mind. Pierre Reverdy. Previous studies, like Oliver, 1960, and again in 1968, Charters from 1963, Oster from 1969, have dwelt at some length on the use of symbols and imagery in the blues. While to many the difference between an image and a symbol may seem to be an academic one, and in most studies such distinctions have been drawn along the feeblest of academic lines, often with no other purpose in mind than the assassination of terms to various devices. Charters, 1963. In our investigation, we find that the necessity to distinguish between the two takes on the nature of an imperative, essential to our clarification of the relationship between repression and the blues. The sun is outstanding. I'm a little off center, guys. Sorry about that. It would be worthwhile at this point to clarify a few factors concerning repression in its psychological sense. Repression refers to unconscious material, which is, for all practical purposes, incapable of becoming conscious. What is repressed is unconscious, not just temporarily unthought of or temporarily forgotten. The concept of repression is crucial for the understanding of symbolism, for only what is repressed is or needs to be symbolized. Jones, 1916. Our definition of a symbol, then, will be a narrower one than is encountered in everyday conversation. It will be a psychoanalytic one, for it is only by applying such a seemingly restrictive, i.e., precise, definition that we can come to understand the various levels of mental functioning and their role in the blues. Symbols are distinct from metaphors, similes, etc. Only such things or ideas are symbols in the sense of psychoanalysis as are invested in consciousness with a logically inexplicable and unfounded effect, and of which it may be analytically established that they owe this effect over emphasis to unconscious identification with another thing or idea, to which the surplus of effect really belongs. Not all similes, therefore, are symbols, but only those in which the one member of the equation is repressed into the unconscious. Ferenczi, 1913. Yeah, I don't think that matters. Ferenczi goes on to quote Rank and Sachs, who suggests that a symbol is a special kind of indirect representation which is distinguished by certain peculiarities from other allied kinds, such as the simile, the metaphor, the allegory, the allusion, and other forms of figurative representation of thought material. And it is a substitutive, illustrative, replacement, repression, replacement expression for something hidden. There's emphasis added on hidden. Following Jones, we must add that symbols have universal meaning. What is most significant is that symbolization involves something hidden, something repressed, yet universal in its meaning. The affect originally attached to an object or an idea, for example, the father, becomes displaced onto another object, for example, the president, but the original affective attachment and connection is repressed. The whole process of symbolization is unconscious, and the user of symbols does not necessarily know that he is employing them. Images, unlike symbols, need not involve repression, and the implications of this distinction are considerable. We could say that images constitute a variable element superimposed on symbols themselves, as the surrealist Virgil Teodorescu, 1970, wrote. It is the constant aspect of the symbol which makes possible affective links between human beings. This constant element is a permanent psychological function, and the variable element represents the ever-renewed relationship of the individual with the environment. The differences are made clear by an example of how an idea or object can at once be a symbol as well as an image or sign. Jones, 1916, cites the wedding ring, for it is a symbol of the female genitalia, i.e., it signifies the female genitalia in the unconscious. Although common parlance implies that the ring is a symbol of fidelity, etc., it is clearly not a symbol for this latter concept, but perhaps merely, as Jones suggests, an emblem. In this example, the symbolic, which is the unconscious, the hidden, and the repressed, meaning of the ring is the female genitalia. Is the female genital. The ring also represents to the conscious mind ideas related to fidelity, love, devotion, etc. And for these ideas, we may say that the ring is an emblem or a sign. The image of a wedding ring may evoke its symbolic content or its emblematic content. Yet we may say that when the symbolic content is not relevant or existent, we are dealing with an image. Alright, we got a little side note about that. We should add here a further item of advice from psychoanalysis regarding the nature of the unconscious. Everything that is unconscious is not necessarily symbolized, since it is only the symbol that retains universal meaning. There is no way of estimating the unconscious significance of numerous non-symbolized references in the songs. There are any number of ideas and objects which represent one thing to the unconscious of one person and another thing to the unconscious of another. It is because of this that song analysis or dream analysis can never proceed past the symbol interpretation stage without the free associations of the singer or the dreamer. Alright, back to the main reading and writing here. bearing in mind the distinction between the symbol and other forms of indirect representation. We are reminded that according to Freud from 1900, symbolization is even more evident in folklore than in dreams. Some years later, from Minutes 1909, Freud also suggested that in spite of our resistance to the interpretation of certain symbols as they manifest themselves in dreams and waking life, we are quite prepared to recognize the hidden meaning of the same symbols when they occur in jokes, sayings, couplets, and we may add the blues. For in the blues, as well as in certain jokes and proverbs, the hidden meaning of the symbol is liberated and set free. The symbol becomes an image, and repression disappears. The original affect attachment is no longer repressed. Here's a song by Memphis Minnie. This house is full of stinging snakes, crawling all in my bed. This house is full of stinging snakes, crawling all in my bed. I can't rest at night from them crawling all under my head. I got up this morning, one stung me on my leg. I got up this morning, one stung me on my leg. I can't sleep at night because they keeps me awake. Wonder where my stinging snake gone. Wonder where my stinging snake gone. I can't see no peace since my stinging snake left my home. That was by Memphis Minnie. It's called Stinging Snake Blues. Oh no, here's another one. Didn't mean to say oh no. Sometimes they continue and they just have words in the middle and I don't realize it. But this one's by Blind Lemon Jefferson, called The Black Snake Man. Moan. Black snake moan. Black snake crawling in my room. Black snake crawling in my room. Some pretty mama better come and get this black snake soon. What's the matter now? What's the matter now? Sugar, what's the matter? Don't like no black snake, no how. Wonder where's my black snake gone? Wonder where my black snake gone. Black snake mama done run my darling home. The symbolic, which is unconscious meaning of the snake, which is penis, which is revealed through the analysis of dreams, phobias, folklore, and myths, appears time and time again in the blues, unrepressed and conscious, an image of the singer's desire, its symbolic meaning no longer secret. Numerous symbols for the penis, perhaps unrecognized by us in our own mental activities, see their conscious realization in the blues. Okay. Oh, my bulls in the pasture, babe, Lord, where there's no grass. Oh, my bulls in the pasture, babe, Lord, where there's no grass. I swear every minute seems like it's gonna be my last. And my bull's got a horn long as my arm. And my bull's got a horn long as my arm. and my bull's got a horn long as my arm. I throw a 5-pound axe and I cut 3 different ways. I throw a 5-pound axe and I cut 3 different ways. And I cut for the women both night and day. I throw a 5-pound axe and I just dropped in your town. I throw a 5-pound axe and I just dropped in your town. I got weight enough behind me to drive that old axe on down. That was Charlie Patton singing Jersey Bull Blues. And the next one. I got a 10-pound hammer and I just dropped in your town. I got a 10-pound hammer and I just dropped in your town. I got weight behind it for to drive this old hammer on down. I got a 10-pound hammer and I got weight to drive it down. I got a 10-pound hammer and I got weight to drive it down. I drive for the women from town to town. I got a 10-pound hammer. The women love to hear it sound. I got a 10-pound hammer. The women love to hear it sound. They say, come on, Moses, go and drive it down. That was Mose Andrews' 10-pound hammer. Interestingly enough, the phallic symbolism of the snake often fades behind the force of a consciously wrought image determined, it is true, by its own unconscious sources. In this line by Memphis Minnie, there is a boa constrictor and a lemon stick from Frisco Town. The lemon stick is an image of the penis, and the snake, by virtue of its being a constrictor, an image of the vagina. The singer's conscious use of this image should suggest that in the unconscious as well, certain snakes may indeed be regarded as representing the vagina and not the penis. The blues contains many symbolic references. It suffices to cite only 1 or 2 others. It was already suggested that in the Charlie McCoy verse, cited in the discussion of travel, the train is a symbol for the father. If we recall a common verse like Willie Loves, in which the train is used as a conscious image for a competitive male. 74 is just a freight train, but it's got ways just like a man. 74 is just a freight train, but it's got ways just like a man. Well, it'll take your sweet little woman, boys, and let you down cold in hand. That was 74 Blues. And if we recall that the father is the male child's original source of competition, our evaluation of the symbolic, the hidden, the unconscious meaning of McCoy's verse, train, superior strength, father, becomes more intelligible. All right, we've got a side note here. As a corollary to this view, Roheim from 1945 suggests that insofar as snakes stand erect, or are thought to, the snake represents the penis. But insofar as they also swallow things or beings, they may typify fantasies and anxieties connected with vagina and uterus. The symbolic value of fishing. To the unconscious, fish means birth, intercourse, or both. Finds its open and conscious expression in the Memphis jug band's Fishing in the Dark. Here we go. Now look here, when I go fishing, 'tain't no crime. When I'm fishing after something of mine. Ah, fishing in the dark. Ah, fishing in the dark. Fishing in the dark. Honey, that's my birthmark. Going down to the river, jump in the spring. I gotta catch the first perch or fish. It don't mean a thing. Ah, fishing in the dark. Tell my ma, tell my pa, would stop fishing, but I can't say no. Fishing in the dark. Tell all you people what it's all about. Can't catch a catfish, I'll catch a trout. Ah, fishing in the dark. It reminds me of whistling. Whistling in the dark. What's the name of that band? Oh my god, I love that song. Fishing in the dark, whistling in the dark. It also had a double meaning, in my opinion. Sorry. That was funny to me. This song provides an excellent example of the various levels of mental functioning operative in the blues. While we have shown that numerous symbols function in the blues as conscious images, it must be borne in mind that the blues also contains true symbols as well as other references. Alright. As well as other symbols of unconscious significance. While the listener can consciously enjoy the singer's references to sexual activity, fishing, it is doubtful if either singers or listeners are consciously aware of the relationship between fishing and birth. In spite of the recurrence of "that's my birthmark" in the refrain does confirm the existence of the symbolic equation fishing equals birth. But while fishing in the dark becomes an image for intercourse, it remains a symbol for birth. The conscious level on which some songs operate may be ambiguous, as in Memphis Minnie's North Memphis Blues. I'll tell all you people you can rest. I'll tell all you people you can eat. I'll tell all you people you can be at ease. You don't have to worry about cooking. Go to North Memphis Cafe and eat. I tell all you people you can rest at ease, because the North Memphis Cafe got everything you really need. I don't buy no wood, even buy no coal. I go to North Memphis Cafe and eat, and don't be a dope. I tell all you people, you don't have to worry about cooking. Go to North Memphis Cafe and eat. I'm going to tell you all something. I don't change like the wind. If you go to the North Memphis Cafe and eat, you'll go back again. I'll tell, etc. Now listen to me, good people. I don't aim to make you mad. You go to the North Memphis Cafe and get something you never had. I'll tell, etc. There might be initial disagreement on whether or not Memphis Minnie intended the song to be sexually suggestive. An argument in favor of the thesis that she did is the last line. Get something you never had. A line which she used many times in other songs, always in an openly sexual way, but assuring that we do not know her conscious intentions, and assuming that her listeners gain conscious pleasure from the song simply as a song about a cafe. It is undeniable that the cafe may have to the unconscious of the singer, as well as to the unconscious of the listener, another meaning, i.e., our original source of nourishment. The mother, or more specifically, the breast. By displacement, the cafe might also come to represent the female genital. The unconscious meaning is the latent content of the song. In spite of the many resistances that this sort of interpretation inevitably calls forth, it is further an established fact that both listener and singer gain satisfaction from the latent content of a song, even when such content remains latent, unconscious, and never becomes manifest, conscious. The importance of this fact should not be underestimated. The latent content of all creative activity contributes in large measure to its capacity to be enjoyed. Indeed, art has often been defined in terms of its ability to express the universal forbidden wishes of mankind, and the blues is no exception. The uniqueness of the blues is due to its manner of expressing these same wishes, a manner in which wishes often kept hidden are openly proclaimed. In spite of the fact that the blues deals with commonly unconscious material in a uniquely unrepressed way, there is also in the blues unconscious material. That is a simple fact, and it implies only that the blues singer suffers, as do we all, from repression. It in no way discredits our thesis that the blues operates on a poetic level, that is, to an unusual extent free from repression. Unfortunately, the unique nature of the blues has generated certain difficulties of interpretation, all of which are strongly reinforced by the tendency toward anti-intellectualism, which is predominant in the youth culture, from which the blues has drawn many of its newest followers. Sadly, these new followers, no doubt reinforced in their own anti-intellectualism by years of exposure to vacuous academic attempts to analyze poems, battle relentlessly against any attempt to understand the blues. For them, the blues is not poetry, not protest or revolt. It is not anything, really, just the blues, that's all. And in their resistances to the understanding of hidden meanings, they gather momentum and encouragement from more intellectual followers as well. So unpopular has the unconscious become. Yet this refusal to accept any meaning other than the one offered by the manifest content of the song, a refusal which by its nature accepts double entendre, but rejects true symbolism or unconscious significance, has for many of these followers a rather thinly disguised racist implication. The implication, of course, is that lower class blacks have no unconscious, no capacity to symbolize, but only the capacity to suggest and allude. Hopefully, no more need be said about this other than that such a concept is quite beyond belief and only follows from the crisis of critical thought which we are witnessing today. Yet there is hope, no doubt baffled and puzzled by their own inability to grasp the essence of certain mental processes. Both critics and morons alike have, for the most part, kept their hands off the right to dreams, and thus humanity's most valuable, most fertile mental activity has been spared unwarranted criticism, unwarranted criticism and interference. Throughout all, the dream still claims its essential place in the fabric of human life and retains its unbreakable connection with the necessity of freedom and the demand for total reconstruction of the world according to desire. Part 2, or section 2 of the last chapter here. The dream. When history sleeps, it speaks in dreams. On the brow of the sleeping, the poem is a constellation of blood. When history wakes, image becomes deed. The poem is achieved. Poetry goes into action. That's by Octavio Paz. P-A-Z. It's really, really smoky here. And I'm so excited. We only got like 4 or 5 pages left. Stay with me, babies. I appreciate you. It is impossible to discuss the dream simply as a dream. In spite of the fundamental correctness of the psychoanalytic conception of the dream, it is imperative that those aspects or implications of the dream, which clearly at this time lie beyond psychoanalysis, be given the attention they deserve. I refer, of course, to poetry, to freedom, to the resolution of the contradiction between conscious and unconscious, to the destruction of bourgeoisie morality, to the total emancipation of humanity. If you think this is asking a lot, let me add that I've only begun. Reality must be transformed from top to bottom. Here's another song. I had a dream. I had a dream one rainy night. I had a dream. I had a dream one rainy night. I was looking for my baby, and you know, the sun was shining bright. That was Elmore James from The Sun is Shining. Alright. What I count is 2 pages, or 2 leaves. It's a leaf, right, in the page. Whatever. We're almost done. Each section of this book has had a specific critical purpose. The themes discussed play a significant part in human life, so much so that now we are discussing the dream, were we not? We find ourselves face to face with the same themes again. It is no accident that they all find themselves associated with dreaming. The dream is a focal point for the aspiration for freedom. And if, according to Freud, the dream is a wish fulfillment, I would be the last to deny it. Here's a song by Big Bill Brunzi called Just a Dream. It was a dream, just a dream I had on my mind. It was a dream, just a dream I had on my mind. And when I woke up, my baby not a thing could I find. I dreamed I went out with an angel and had a good time. I dreamed I was satisfied and nothing to worry my mind. But it was a dream, etc. When I woke up, baby, not an angel could I find. I dreamed I played policy and played the horses too. I dreamed I win so much money, I didn't know what to do. But it was a dream, etc. When I woke up, baby, not a penny could I find. I dreamed I was married and started a family. I dreamed I had 10 children and they all looked like me. But it was a dream, etc. And when I woke up, baby, not a child, could I find. Here's another one. There is a hint in the blues that the dream has a crucial function. Little Laura was a gal. She was 16. And Jimmy didn't want to listen to her dreams. Little Laura was a dreamer, dreamed herself insane. She's the dreamiest gal I ever seen. Now she dreamed she was going with the man next door. She dreamed she was kissing it all over. She dreamed she was riding in a tall man's automobile. She's the dreamiest gal I ever seen. Now she dreamed she was sitting in the grass by the mill. She dreamed she had taken me from my gal on the hill. Little Laura was a dreamer, most all her dreams fulfilled. She's the dreamiest gal I ever seen. Now she dreamed I was hugging her close to my breast. She told Jimmy that much of the dream, but she wouldn't tell the rest. Little Laura was a dreamer. She dreamed herself insane. She's the dreamiest gal I ever seen. Now she dreamed about loving some from kisses on down. She's the dreamiest gal for miles around. Little Laura was a dreamer. Most all her dreams come true. She had a dream all about loving, and she knows just what to do. The Sleepy John Estes, Little Laura's Blues. All right, here's another one by Big Bill Brunsey. If I'd listened to my baby when she was telling me her dream. If I'd listened to my baby when she was telling me her dream. Lord, everything now, baby, would have been peaches and cream. I had no money on the horses, I had money on the horses, money on 1, 2, 3. I had money on the horses, money on 1, 2, 3. Now my water got muddy and my horse run into a tree. Now when I had money, I had friends and a real good home. Now when I had money, I had friends and a real good home. Lord, I done lost my money, and my friends and home is gone. Now if I listened to my mother, Lord, what she said. Now if I'd listened to my mother, Lord, what she said. Lord, I would not have been here now, lying on this old hospital bed. Big Bill Brunsey, when I had money. All right, come on, baby, come on, we're so close. I feel like I'm falling asleep again because the sun is warm and it's like smoky in the air, so it feels wonderful. Come on, let me try some coffee. Perk myself back up. Excuse me. It was left to Freud to enlighten those intellectuals who scoffed at the lower classes for consulting their dream books. The intellectuals were the fools, for dreams did have meaning. As for the dream books, they were indeed unscientific. But as Freud from 1900 suggested, they were one of those not infrequent cases in which an ancient and jealousy-held popular beliefs seem to be nearer the truth and the judgment of the prevalent science of today. Much the same can be said for the superstition and magic. I had a dream last night, and it filled me full of fright. I had a dream last night, and it filled me full of fright. I dreamed I was in the dance hall where the devil danced at night. I saw the sweet Mistress Devil standing in her hall. I saw the sweet Mrs. Devil standing in her hall. She was out with the devil, said she was giving a ball. She had on a robe that was made of gold. She had on a robe that was made of gold. I never seen no devil look so sweet before. It was a dream I never had before. It was a dream I never had before. I dreamed we all was dancing and put on a great big show. That's by Sippy Wallace, called Devil Dance Blues. Little side note. Regarding whether or not dreams foretell the future, as some dream books suggest, there is a kernel of truth supported even by psychoanalysis. The issue finds itself further opened by J.W. Dunn's An Experiment with Time from 1958. It was also Freud who suggested that the devil represents the personification of the unconscious and repressed instincts. According to Evans from 1971, learning music from the devil is a common motif in Negro folklore. Once again, we have an irrefutable confirmation of the role of the unconscious. Its specific function in the creation of blues songs cannot be lost from sight. The blues singer may be confirming a segment of psychoanalytic theory when they sing, I went to town this morning and I bought a new pair of shoes. I went to town this morning and I bought a new pair of shoes. I didn't do it because I wanted to. Done it because I had the blues. That's by Lightning Hopkins, called Got to Move Your Baby. But there's a trace of magic here. And it is precisely in magic that we find the poetic means for the transformation of reality. Going to Louisiana Bottoms to get me a hoodoo hand. Going to Louisiana Bottoms to get me a hoodoo hand. To try to stop the woman from taking my man. The hoodoo told me to get a black cat bone. The hoodoo told me to get a black cat bone. And shake it over their head, they'll leave your man alone. It's by Ma Rainey, Louisiana Hoodoo Blues. Human freedom depends not only on the destruction and restructuring of the economic system, but on the reconstructing of the mind. New modes of poetic action, new networks of analogy, new possibilities of expression, all help formulate the nature of the supersession of reality. The transformation of everyday life as it encumbers us today. The unfolding and eventual triumph of the marvelous. All right, here's another song. A tadpole in the river hatching underneath of a log. A tadpole in the river hatching underneath of a log. He got too old to be a tadpole. He turned into a natural frog. If a toad frog had wings, he would fly all around. If a toad frog had wings, he would be flying all around. he would not have his bottom bumping, thumping on the ground. Every time I see a toad frog, Lord, it makes me cry. Every time I see a toad frog, Lord, it makes me cry. Makes me think about my baby, why she rolls her goo-goo eyes. Walter Beasley, Toad Frog Blues. I'm just imagining someone says, I wrote a song for you. Like, oh, thank you. Been there, done that. Okay, here we go. Last paragraph, my loves. Dreaming remains intimately connected with all of the above-mentioned possibilities, for it is in the dream that we see once again the satisfaction of our desires. Moreover, in reproducing the gratification of repressed wishes, often we see new possibilities of unrepressed life. If the surrealists and their precursors have been preoccupied with these themes, it would be unjust not to give credit to the blues artist as well. As I write earlier in 1970, it is significant. Hey. It is significant that the currents of 19th century French poetry that Tristan Tzara in 1931 found relevant to surrealist excursion are a fairly accurate description of the content of the blues. Among Tzara's subjects were phantoms, magic, sexual liberty, dreams, madness, passion, folklore, and real and imaginary voyages. Nothing has changed, least of all the dream. The blues, like the dream, continues to retain its rights, even if its future is uncertain. We see in it an appeal to close the shutters on a weathered concept of virtue and a harsh and oppressive civilization. We see in it a demand for non-repression, elaborated by the images of a capacity for fantasy that has not been crushed. We see in it one of the few modern American poetic voices through which humanity has fiercely fought for and managed to regain a semblance of its true dignity. And that's the end. We did it again. Here's the book that I've been reading you. And that is the end of that. That was a lot of fun. I was able to get some better formulas from this book on writing songs. So, thank you for letting me share blues and the poetic spirit with you. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful day.